You've been staring at your gut in the mirror. Maybe you've lost a few pounds. Maybe you haven't. But here's what nobody is telling you. The most dangerous fat on your body isn't the stuff you can pinch. It's the fat you can't see at all. It's called visceral fat. And right now, if you're carrying extra weight around your midsection, it is wrapping itself around your liver, your kidneys, and your intestines like a biological slow burn. It is not just stored energy sitting there waiting to be burned. It is biologically active tissue, producing inflammatory chemicals around the clock that are quietly raising your risk for diabetes, heart disease, and metabolic breakdown. I'm JD, pharmacist, 30 plus years in healthcare, and someone who has had a very personal relationship with this exact problem. Today, I'm walking you through what is actually happening inside your body when visceral fat starts to let go. 4 stages, all science. And by the end, you will understand your own biology better than most people who have never set foot in a pharmacy or a doctor's office. Stay with me. This one is going to change how you think about fat loss entirely. Let's start with what happens first, and it's not what most people expect because it happens before you ever see a change on the scale. Visceral fat is not passive. It behaves like an endocrine organ, meaning it actively produces hormones and proteins that influence your entire body. One of the most important things it produces is a group of inflammatory proteins called cytokines. And these keep your body in a state of chronic, low-level inflammation. And chronic inflammation over time is the common thread behind nearly every major disease we spend billions of dollars treating. And the moment you enter a sustained caloric deficit and start putting real metabolic demand on your body through resistance training, zone 2 cardio, cleaning up your diet, the first thing that changes is hormonal. Your insulin levels start to drop. And insulin is your primary fat storage hormone. Lower insulin means your body shifts from fat storing mode to fat burning mode. And at the same time, your body starts producing more adiponectin, a hormone that helps your muscles use carbohydrates for fuel more efficiently. Think of it as your biology flipping the green light on. And here's the part I find fascinating as a pharmacist. As inflammation drops, your brain's communication with your fat cells actually improves. A lot of men report that their mental clarity sharpens and their mood stabilizes before they notice any physical change. That is not in your head. That is your neurobiology responding to reduced systemic inflammation. The brain feels it first. Now here's where it gets visceral, pun fully intended. Unlike the fat just under your skin, visceral fat puts direct physical pressure on your internal organs. And when it starts to let go, your organs literally get room to breathe, and the downstream effects are measurable. Your liver is the first to benefit. Visceral fat is directly linked to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is a condition that is dramatically more common in men over 40 than most people realize. As fat is mobilized away from the liver, its ability to detoxify your blood and regulate cholesterol improves significantly. And that alone should be motivation enough. Your heart is next. When there's less fat congesting your abdominal cavity, your heart no longer has to work as hard to push blood through the system. Research consistently shows meaningful reductions in blood pressure over weeks to months of consistent visceral fat loss. And that improvement is tied specifically to visceral fat reduction, not just overall weight loss. And here's one that surprises people every time I mention it: your lungs. Less visceral fat means less upward pressure on your diaphragm. You get deeper, more efficient breaths. A lot of men start noticing they're not winded climbing stairs the same way they were. They think it's their cardio improving. And yes, that's part of it, but it's also just physics. There's less fat compressing the system. So where exactly does that fat go when it leaves? Because here's a fact that most people have never heard, and it's one of the most interesting things I've learned in 30 years of healthcare. Fat doesn't melt. It doesn't flush out through your digestive system. It doesn't get sweated out at the gym. What actually happens is a process called beta oxidation, and it is genuinely fascinating. When your body breaks down triglycerides from your visceral fat stores, they enter your bloodstream as free fatty acids. From there, they travel to your mitochondria, the energy-producing powerhouses inside your cells, where they are burned to create ATP, which is cellular fuel. Your muscles run on it. Your brain runs on it. Every organ in your body runs on it. And the byproduct of that combustion is mostly carbon dioxide and water. Research published in the British Medical Journal has shown that approximately 84% of the fat you lose is exhaled through your lungs as carbon dioxide. The remaining 16% leaves your body as water through sweat, urine, and breath. You are literally breathing out the fat you lose. Every deep breath during a zone 2 walk, every exhale during a heavy set of squats, that is your biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. And visceral fat, because it is so metabolically active, responds faster to this process than the fat sitting just under your skin. After consistent visceral fat loss, something even more significant starts to happen. Your metabolic set point begins to shift. Your body becomes dramatically more insulin sensitive. That means your blood sugar stays stable throughout the day. No more mid-afternoon energy crashes. No more desperate reach for something sweet at 3 p.m. No more waking up hungry an hour after a full meal. The blood sugar roller coaster levels out. And for men over 40, that is one of the most impactful metabolic improvements possible. Your leptin signaling also improves. Leptin is the hormone that signals your brain to stop eating. It tells you you're full. And when you carry high visceral fat, you often become leptin resistant. Your brain literally cannot hear the fullness signal, no matter how much food you've consumed. And as the visceral fat decreases, that signal clears up. You will naturally find yourself satisfied with less food. Not because you're dieting harder, because your biology is working correctly again. This is what true metabolic reset looks like, and it is available to every man willing to do the work consistently enough to get there. I talk about visceral fat on this channel because I have lived it personally. Carrying extra visceral fat in my mid-50s, knowing exactly what it's doing inside my body is a different kind of motivation than just not liking how your shirt fits. When you understand the biology, every good decision carries more weight. Every workout, every clean meal, every solid night of sleep, you know what it's actually doing at the cellular level. That knowledge changes the game, and sharing it is exactly why this channel exists. But here's one more thing we're saying. When you are in a caloric deficit, which is exactly where visceral fat loss requires you to be, your body needs more than just willpower to stay in it. The 4 things that actually derail men in a deficit are a slowing metabolism, blood sugar crashes that trigger cravings, appetite that fights back harder the longer you go, and the emotional eating that kicks in when stress and mood take a hit. Sound familiar? That's exactly the 4-part problem we built the weight loss pack at NuLifeSpan to address. One daily pack with clinically researched ingredients targeting all 4. Thermogenic metabolic support to keep your body burning, blood sugar stabilizers to flatten out the energy crashes, natural appetite regulators to keep hunger from running the show, and mood support compounds to take emotional eating off the table. Clean label, stimulant-free, manufactured in GMP-compliant, FDA-registered facilities. Not a magic pill, the nutritional infrastructure that makes your deficit actually work the way it's supposed to. Head over to NuLifeSpan.com or find more information in the video description. So, let's bring it home. Visceral fat is not just a cosmetic problem. It is a biologically active threat producing inflammation, pressuring your organs, disrupting your hormones, and blocking the signals your body uses to regulate hunger and blood sugar. But when you start losing it, the reversal is equally dramatic. Hormonal shift, organ relief, metabolic fire, systemic reset. And here's the most important thing to understand. Visceral fat responds faster to lifestyle intervention than the fat you can see. It is more metabolically active, which means it lets go first when you give your body the right conditions. Consistent caloric deficit, resistant training, zone 2 cardio, quality sleep. These are not suggestions. They are the biological triggers that start this entire cascade. And drop a comment right now. Are you just starting your journey with visceral fat, or are you already seeing changes? Tell me where you are. I read every one. And hit subscribe for evidence-based content every week, built for men over 40 who want to understand their biology and actually do something about it. And share this with someone who needs to hear what's really going on inside the gut they've been ignoring. This is JD from NuLifeSpan. The fat you can't see is the fat that matters most. Start there, and I'll see you in the next one.